Hello everybody, John here from the esports department, coming at you with day 2 of the World's Group Stages. Sorry this video is going to be super late. I know a lot of people are just going to end up missing this video. I'm not sure how many people are going to get a chance to watch it, but we finally got this issue figured out. It was actually my fault, so don't blame Fantasy Labs on this one. I made a mistake trying to upload these, and I've been waiting all day for them to fix it, and it turns out it was something that I did wrong to begin with, and I could have fixed it forever ago, and now it's late. So I'm going to try to make these game descriptions as quick as I can to try not to waste your time. Normally I'd like to go a little bit more in-depth. If you want to see some more in-depth thoughts on these games and yesterday's games, check out the video I did with Pykel, aka League of Items, which is also on the website. You can get more in-depth. If you just wanted to get to the meat and bones, I'll kind of speed through this one a little bit. It's not going to be too fast because I just can't make it too fast because I like to talk too much. But I'll get through this as quick as I can to try to get you some thoughts. So the first matchup, T1 against EDG. I quite like EDG in this matchup. They're minus 150 to T1's plus 112. I have an inkling that T1 is going to come out of this tournament not looking as good as they looked day one, for sure. I like EDG in this spot, but this is not a matchup that I think is going to show up well. I'm guessing you're not going to see this matchup show up for a little while. It looks like the top one is like maybe number 15 on the list, which is kind of what I would have guessed. This doesn't strike me as two teams that are likely to have a super bloody game, so it feels like maybe a fade. Probably these teams are going to be kind of cheap as well, which also kind of wants to take me away from them. Their ownership's just automatically going to be higher if they're cheap. So this feels like one that I'm probably going to find a fade on day one. The second matchup, Rogue at plus 255, Damwon minus 375. Damwon looked fantastic day one. They're a beatable team. But my problem with this matchup is I feel like this goes one of two ways. If Damwon wins this game, it feels likely to be fairly controlled. Damwon is a team that will control teams and beat them slowly and methodically. If Rogue wins this game, it feels like they're not going to be able to do that to Damwon. They're just not good enough to do that to Damwon. So if Rogue were to win this game, it feels like this is going to be a very long game where Rogue ends up with like Soul and Baron at 40 minutes, and that's how they close it out. That kind of game tends to be pretty good for scoring. So I kind of feel about this game like maybe I'm going to fade the Damwon side, given that they looked so good yesterday, and I think their method of victory in this matchup just maybe might not be super bloody. And look to maybe play Rogue in the small dollar big field GPPs. Their ownership should be pretty low. Damwon looked awesome yesterday, and if Rogue wins, it feels like the scoring upside on them is pretty good. So Rogue feels playable to me. The only argument for maybe playing Damwon is that they're in the same price range, I'm guessing. Yeah, they're in roughly the same price range as like FPX and RNG. And I think people are much more likely to play FPX or RNG than they are to play Damwon. So maybe there's an argument for trying to play them and get the ownership that's probably going to be a little reduced from those two teams. But I think for me it's going to be Rogue in the big fields, Damwon nowhere, and probably neither one of these teams in the smaller fields. Up next, HLE and PSG. This is an interesting one because PSG looked terrible on day one. I mean, they had their moments, but they didn't look good on day one. HLE looked great, but they were playing against what was a clearly damaged Fnatic team. I could definitely see PSG winning this game. They feel like a decent GPP underdog. I would be less inclined to play them if HLE didn't look so good on day one that people might be hesitant to go to PSG. PSG feels like a good GPP play. Then on the other side of the coin, so does HLE. Both these teams are pretty bloody. I'm guessing we're going to get a decent score out of them. It doesn't look like they're too high on the list, maybe like 10th for deft. So maybe I'm overestimating the projected bloodiness in this matchup, but we'll take a look at that in a minute. This feels like a matchup that both sides of it should be pretty playable. RNG minus 450 up against Fnatic plus 290. I want to use this as a bounce back slate for Fnatic and say, like, don't worry about yesterday, like, just play Fnatic, they could beat RNG, they'll score well. I just kind of don't think that. After all the drama that's been happening on the social media, even if people are making drama out of nothing, it's still something that's going to be affecting the team. And they just didn't look that good. I mean, they lost arguably their best player or among their best players and got him replaced with somebody I think is kind of a subpar 80 carry from the regional leagues. And they have to play against RNG. I mean, it just feels like RNG is a huge favorite to win this matchup. I don't think I'm going to take the shot on Fnatic. If you wanted to, their ownership is probably going to be super low, and this game like projects to be extremely good. You can see RNG top of the list here. If Fnatic wins, they're not showing up on this list, but man, I do expect Fnatic to score well. Honestly, the projections feel like they might be too low if we're not seeing Fnatic this high. Where's like the highest Fnatic player? Bwipo's here. Is there anybody above him? Man, I am really surprised to see Fnatic so low. Oh no, top jungle projection. Second highest top. I must have had my captain things sorted by something different. Yeah, as soon as I sorted by projection again, they're showing up. Okay, so I just had it sorted wrong. Yeah, I would highly expect for this matchup to be extremely bloody. So Fnatic makes a pretty good big field GPP play. I don't know if I'm going to trust them in a smaller field GPP. Cloud9 plus 305 up against FPX minus 475. If Cloud9 had won today, it'd be kind of appealing. It'd be more appealing to go FPX maybe. The thing that interests me with FPX in this spot is that it feels like them and RNG are definitely the most expensive. Oh, I was looking at salary earlier. Duh, that's what I was looking at. It feels like FPX and RNG are the two most expensive teams, and I think people will prefer to go RNG. So especially maybe in like smaller field GPPs, FPX feels like a good spot to take advantage of the fact that you can't really play FPX and RNG together, and people are probably more likely to lean RNG. And this matchup definitely has potential to be bloody. It doesn't have the same projection as RNG Fnatic, but it has the same type of upside for sure. So smaller field GPPs, I kind of like FPX as a pivot off of RNG. If you wanted to play C9 and just go with the FPX showed up, dust narrative, which is a real narrative, there's always a team or two that shows up at Worlds and way underperforms what we expected of them. If you think maybe that team is FPX, this game certainly has upside. C9 makes a good large field GPP play, I think, but pretty much just in the large fields. 100 Thieves at minus 190, DFM at plus 145. I kind of planted my flag on this one in the other podcast I did. I really just think DFM is going to go like at best 1-5 and likely 0-6. I just don't think they're very good, and I think 100 Thieves is going to beat them. That said, you can see from the projections here, this matchup does not project to be one of the bloodier matches on the slate. So it feels completely fadeable. I might be willing to play 100 Thieves in cash, though, because I'm guessing they're not that expensive, and I really think they're going to win. So we'll look at the cash combinations in a little bit here. I don't think I'm going to touch any DFM, and I'm going to be definitely willing to play 100 Thieves in cash. Mad Lions minus 125, Gen G minus 105. This is a matchup that could definitely go either way. I hated some things I saw from Mad Lions today. Most notably, last Worlds, they showed up and looked really skittish and overforced things and looked bad, and everyone was like, oh my god, this isn't the real Mad Lions, and now they're doing it again, and that really bothers me. They could have won that game today, for sure. They overforced a play in the mid lane they didn't need to force. They had just successfully forced back TL, and they decided to go for an overforced play. I didn't like what I saw. It wasn't the Mad Lions that I was used to seeing in the regular season. Possibly, I think Gen G should be the favorite here. The only question is how big of a favorite. Probably not much. It feels like a game I'm probably not going to mess with in cash. In GPP, you could play either of these teams, but I'm guessing they're going to be pretty decently owned, given that they're both probably right in that middle range, I'm guessing. Yeah, Elyoya 6,400. Gen G actually, yeah, 6,600, so they're right in that middle range. 6,600 for Humanoid, BDD at 68. So yeah, they're just super cheap. You can fit them with like anyone. So in GPP, they're probably going to be played a lot with favorites. Playing one of these two with an underdog might get you a lineup that's a little bit lower owned. I might not play either one of these with a favorite if you're playing GPP. If you had a lot of trust in Gen G and cash, I could see them playing them in cash, but I don't think I'm going to go that direction personally. I could see Mad Lions riding the ship tomorrow and coming out and looking very strong. And the last matchup of the day, LNG minus 220, TL plus 165. I could see TL being a popular underdog today. They won yesterday. LNG lost badly yesterday. I could see people going, LNG's not all they're cracked up to be. Let's play Team Liquid, but I don't think that's the direction I'm going to go. I like LNG to win this matchup. I don't think LNG's a huge favorite. I actually think even the minus 220 might be a little heavy, but I do like them to win. It's not really a team I'm super excited about playing in cash, though. We do see Light actually showing up very well on the list here, so maybe they're a little bit better than I thought. But let's look at some possible cash playable teams from this slate. I don't really want to play EDG if I can help it. Damwon is certainly cash playable. Between HLE and PSG, man, I don't know if I want to mess with that one either for cash. RNG is clearly cash playable after what we've seen so far from that matchup. FPX is clearly going to be cash playable. I personally am making 100 Thieves cash playable. I could understand if other people didn't want to go that way. That's kind of a gamble for me, that I kind of like them in that spot. And then LNG, I think kind of replace 100 Thieves with LNG if you would prefer to play LNG instead of 100 Thieves. Their odds are better. I think I would rather be on the Thieves side because I'm a little bit more confident in that matchup. But let's look at some possible cash lineups, especially since we are on King of the Rift day 2 tomorrow. We want to kind of see what possible things we can come up with. I'm guessing you're not going to get much out of something like Damwon and RNG, but let's see, it'd be Damwon, RNG, Damwon FPX, Damwon 100 Thieves, and I'll do Damwon LNG for people as well. RNG FPX, RNG 100 Thieves, RNG LNG, FPX 100 Thieves, and FPX LNG. Okay, so for Damwon and RNG, I'm not even sure we're going to be able to come up with a lineup for this one, but let's see. Nothing. Should be the same thing for Damwon and FPX. I'll double check it, but FPX is more expensive in general. Yep, no lineup there either. If we went Damwon and 100 Thieves, 216.4, it's a someday captain 3-3, so you don't have to go support captain, which is nice. What if we went with LNG instead of 100 Thieves? 226.4, but it's a support captain, so generally speaking they like LNG more than the 100 Thieves matchup, which I can completely understand. Nothing super exciting there, but not the worst. Let's see what happens when we go with RNG and FPX. I'm guessing you're going to see nothing there. Oh, there's... Oh, that's Fnatic. My bad. I was like, dang, you can get a mid lane captain. Yeah, no lineup for those two. RNG 100 Thieves. This is one I'm kind of excited to see what comes up. It is a support captain 3-3. If I was willing to go like someday captain, could I do that? If I went to like the team slot for them, but then downgraded to like say Abadage, could I then get someday captain? No. How far off am I from that? 600, so you're probably not getting there. Is there a way to do who he captain 100 Thieves team and get 4 RNG players? We only have 800 left over. That's 1,000 just to get to Gala, so I'm guessing no. Yeah, it's really a 3-3 is the only way to do it. It gives us a 217.4. Not the most exciting lineup. If you were to play these guys and be willing to put in a different team slot, let's see, in the excluded team slots here, who's a good value team slot? EDG is pretty much like the best value team slot, 5,200. So what if I was to take this out? What if I was to add EDG back in and play EDG team slot? That would leave me with 800, which would be enough to upgrade to Way. I think it's enough to upgrade to that someday captain I was looking at earlier too. Gives you 6,600, so you'd still have to play like a 3-3. How was I doing that before? Switch over to Huhi. And then, no, I still don't have enough for away. I was only 600 short earlier, right? So this should fit that. Xiaohu, maybe I was only playing 2 RNG. What if I take all the EDG players out of here and just see what it generates? Just leave the team slot available. Wow, 100 Thieves team slot captain is what it goes with, huh? I don't like the look of that. Seems like maybe there's not a great combination of those teams. Let's see what we can get with RNG and LNG. It's kind of starting to feel like maybe I might have to go towards LNG. 216.6, but it's a team slot captain. I don't think I'm messing with that. What if we went with FPX and 100 Thieves? Oh, this has LNG in it. Hui captain 3-3, nothing too exciting there. FPX LNG. Support captain 3-3, 224.5. Nothing exciting there with any of these top teams. That's disappointing. There was really no way to get like any sort of decent lineup. It feels like maybe you might have to take a risk here and go with maybe an EDG. Let's see what happens if we get EDG is probably not even the best shot at this. The cash lineups are brutal, man. Just brutal. EDG, I guess maybe HLE might be a safer spot. Man, it is tough out here for a pimp. HLE, if you went something like HLE RNG, still team slot captain. What about like HLE FPX, same thing? Man, playing RNG or FPX is so hard on these slates. But it feels like you have to have one of those teams. I don't know how you can avoid playing one of those two teams. You can get a Xiaohu captain if you play with EDG. If you do FPX EDG, you can get a Tian captain. So if you're willing to play EDG, you can get much better lineups than you can get playing anything else. 100 Thieves just really is not giving me what I was hoping for. Damn, 100 Thieves. At least you're getting a top lane captain out of that. Brutal, dude. Just brutal lineups. What was this one again? Still just a support captain. You're going to have to play Barrel. This is not a good cash slate. That's pretty much all I can say about this. Maybe Damn 100 Thieves has some viability. Maybe you take a risk on EDG if you have some faith in EDG. With my two King of the Rift lineups, I might play one of them where I have some faith in EDG and try to grasp some upside, and then another one that's a little safer with 100 Thieves maybe, and just try to play it safe. I guess that makes the most sense to me. It's a pretty tough slate, man. It is a pretty tough slate for cash. For GPPs, I would try to find myself in a weird spot. I think Fnatic makes sense. I think Rogue makes sense. PSG Talon makes sense. You could even try Cloud9 if you don't have that faith in FPX. I mean, the Lions and Gen G game can go either way, but it feels like the ownership's going to be high, and that matchup is not necessarily that bloody, so maybe I stay away from that one. For big field GPPs, LNG feels like a decent spot after a terrible day yesterday. I mean, it's an 8-game slate. Any one of these games can go to 28 kills or whatever and be the game of the day. Obviously, some are more likely than others, but if you're playing big fields, you're looking for outlier results. So LNG makes some sense, and I kind of think that FPX will end up lower owned than RNG, so maybe going to FPX might be a decent spot as well. tough slate, man. Really, really tough slate. Hard to find decent lineups. But we'll do what we can and try to find our way into day 3 of King of the Rift. I appreciate you guys. Sorry again for being so late and having to kind of rush through this one. We'll have a much better, longer one tomorrow when I'm not an idiot and upload everything correctly to begin with. So I appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you again tomorrow. Have a good one.